International Women's Day, a global day marked annually on 8th March, is one of the most important days of the year to celebrate social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, raise awareness about women's equality, and lobby for accelerated gender parity. It is celebrated in many countries around the world. For those who think International Women's Day is just a recent trend, they may find it astonishing that the movement to celebrate a day dedicated to women started in the early 19th century. Like many other movements, this too started with USA. On 28th February 1909, the first ever day dedicated to women was celebrated in New York City, and it was called National Women's Day. It was organized by the Socialist Party of America at the suggestion of activist Theresa Melchiel. Thereafter, women continued to celebrate National Women's Day on the last Sunday of February until 1913. However, in 1910, a second international conference of working women was held in Copenhagen, Denmark. A woman named Clara Zetkin, leader of the Women's Office for the Social Democratic Party in Germany, tabled the idea of an International Women's Day, a day for women to press their demands, and celebrations in every country on the same day. The conference of over 100 women from 17 countries greeted Zetkin's suggestion with unanimous approval, and thus International Women's Day was the result. Following the decision agreed at Copenhagen in 1911, International Women's Day was honored for the first time in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland on 19th March. More than 1 million women and men attended International Women's Day rallies, campaigning for women's right to work, vote, to hold public offices, and end discrimination. Less than a week later, 25th March witnessed the tragic Triangle Fire in New York City, an unfortunate incident that took lives of more than 140 working women, most of them Italian and Jewish immigrants. The silver lining of this tragic incident was it drew attention to working conditions and labor legislation in the United States that later became a focus of subsequent International Women's Day events. Later in 1917, on the last Sunday of February, Russian women began a strike for bread and peace in response to the death of over 2 million Russian soldiers in World War I. This later became revolution in Russia. Opposed by political leaders, the women continued to strike until 4 days later the Tsar Nicholas II was abdicated and the provisional government granted women right to vote. The date this strike commenced was Sunday, February 23rd. Russia at that time was following Julian calendar, but most European countries were following Gregorian calendar, the present English calendar. Accordingly, 23rd February in Russia was 8th March in other countries, and that's how 8th March was finally settled as the International Women's Day. Interestingly, though the world started celebrating International Women's Day from 1917 unanimously on 8th March, UN accepted existence of this day only in 1975, a year that was declared International Women's Year by UN and the United Nations Decade for Women from 1976 to 1985. From then on, UN began celebrating 8th March as International Women's Day. For those who think, what is the need of celebrating Women's Day? My response is, though the world has made unprecedented advances, but no country has achieved gender equality yet. Women spend 4.1 times more time in unpaid care work than men, at least in Asia and Pacific. At the same time, women earn 23% less than men globally and occupy only 24% of parliamentary seats worldwide. We therefore surely need a day dedicated to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of their countries and communities. Do I need to say more? Are these reasons not enough? Every year, a theme is given to International Women's Day, and this year it is Choose to Challenge. A challenged world is an alert world. From challenge comes change. We all can choose to challenge only if it is our choice. This Women's Day, I choose to challenge women's right to choose, be it any aspect of her life. It should be her choice to dress, to eat, to work, to marry, to be a child, to abort, be it anything. It should be her choice and not a compulsion. What do you choose to challenge? Think and decide. There cannot be a better quote to summarize this than by famous author Ayn Rand. Question isn't who's going to let me, it is who's going to stop me. Happy International Women's Day 2021. God bless.